Let's stay on Fox. Let's go to Bama and Wisconsin. This one is in Camp Randall at 11 a.m. Central Time. That's God's time zone for all you at home. Bama, I saw as a 16-point favorite on Monday. I think it's 16 and a half or maybe 15 and a half live right now. This one should be pretty interesting. There's some question marks lingering around both teams. JP, talk to us about this one.
Yeah, this one kind of screams like Alabama get right. Like now you're going to get challenged. Now you're really going to have a chance to show and bow up and kind of how much different a DeBoer team looks than a Saban team in this situation. Wisconsin, on the other end, has really been sputtery. Like the offense hasn't looked the same. It hasn't been great. I wrote down the numbers for Van Dyke through all of this, and I believe his completion percentage is like 60% on the year. Yeah, 60%, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions on the year. So this, like, I know we talked about Wisconsin being an air raid schemes, but they want to run the ball well. Like they have Chez Mellusi, they have a front that they're confident in. Problem is if we're start letting Van Dyke sling it around the yard, this is one of the better secondaries they'll probably see all year, if not the best, right? And if that's the case, is there something that Wisconsin can do differently with running the ball to open things up? A lot of people were saying, and kind of looking back at the USF game as well as the Western Kentucky game for Alabama, and that there were guys open downfield, but the quarterbacks weren't hitting them. For whatever reason, Brown could not hit these guys last week. Can Van Dyke do it? Maybe, but they also don't have the athlete out there to get that wide open at the receiver position. So for me, it was a lot looking at, okay, so if Wisconsin's going to win, they're going to have to move the football. Are we really confident that Van Dyke's going to be able to do that at a level he hasn't done yet this year in a Wisconsin uniform? We're just all of a sudden opening this up and he's not going to make any more mistakes like he has the last couple of years. That part scares me. I think Wisconsin likes the offensive line, but I think Alabama knows they have a chance of getting after the quarterback for them. Jalen Milroe, I think, presents a world of problems for this Wisconsin team, right? This is a team that traditionally has a really good linebacking core and a very good front. I don't think the front is what it usually is. And I think Milroe getting out of the pocket, like the legit, he's a big play guy. Like it's a bomb downfield, or it's ability to get out of the pocket and throw a bomb, or it's getting 15, 20 on a 3rd and 2. I think it's going to be a ton of fun to totally watch that unfold, is how Milroe's used in this situation, because I just think they out-athlete him. Alabama does. And I like the running backs in Jam Miller and Justice Haynes. That I believe, Jake, correct me on this, I think we were listening to the same thing today. The tackles, Proctor and Pritchett. Proctor, a maybe. Yeah. Pritchett is kind of up in the air still as well. The tackles for Alabama. But
I haven't heard anything. I'm assuming Proctor's still out.
I heard Proctor is questionable.
Still questionable. Yeah. I just don't know if Wisconsin can create the havoc they need to really make Jalen Milroe, questionable. It's just it's a tough spot.
I really don't.
I'll keep mine light before you go run on, Jake, because I know you got a lot on this. But I think if you look back at the past couple of weeks, there's questions around both teams, and Wisconsin's in a worse spot because I think this fan base is starting to have some awareness of maybe where this program's going under Fickell. I get it. It's only year 2, but last year you were picked to compete and almost win that West division, and you were nowhere near it. You looked really bad a lot of the time, and now you've gotten in 2 dogfights against inferior opponents to start the year in South Dakota and Western Michigan. So what's it with Wisconsin fan base? This is a huge game for their reaction and how they take away the rest of Fickell's time there. And then the other side, you got Alabama. That was a dogfight with USF last week until the 4th quarter. It really was. So they're looking for things to open up as well. I think they had a lot of that Alabama fan base on the edge of their seat again that USF did. They didn't handle Brown running the ball very well at all on the defensive side of the ball if you're Alabama. Good news, Tyler Van Dyke doesn't run it even half as much, but Chez Mellusi is a good enough back where he can hurt you. I do think the key to this game is, are we going to get old Tyler Van Dyke that is throwing 4 or 5 passes to the other team, or can they stay sound and stay competitive throughout this game? But I do think Bama gets them. Jake.
I'm hand in hand with Keegan in the comments here. Like, I will keep this short. I think much like NC State, Tennessee last week, I think that this non-SEC opponent is completely outmatched in athletes. I would say if you put USF and Wisconsin on a neutral field, I mean, it's maybe a 3-point game on one side. I don't think it's that
or USF gets them.
Yeah. Jam Miller, like Justice Haynes, I think they're going to have a field day running the ball. Did you guys look back? Did you guys even have a chance to watch the USD Wisconsin game? Like, that kid for USD ran pretty damn hard. I was like, wow, Now let's throw
Gritty
Jalen
football team.
throw Jalen Milroe on top of that, on top of their good running backs, and now you try to stop the run there. This air raid thing is just horrendous. I know it's not a complete disaster, but like he's averaging 6 yards per completion. Tyler Van Dyke is. He's got one touchdown.
I agree. I think seeing him throw the ball 63 times with the Wisconsin logo next to his name is still like a little staggering as a fan of the Big Ten. Like 70 times in 2 games, and you're Wisconsin, they usually run it 75 times a game. So they're still getting used to it there too. Reese, thoughts on this matchup?
See, I think with Wisconsin, like, you want to throw the ball, but it's also, I think you don't want to throw the ball so much because you don't want to give Crimson a lot of time with the football. I think you want to run it as well. You talk about Malusi. So I think they're going to try to run. If they can establish a run game and keep it away from Alabama, that's going to help. But it's also, I think Alabama's going to want to run the ball a lot too, with Miller and Haynes, and especially with Milroe too. I think there's going to be a lot of clock going in this one because I think the run game is going to be pretty solid. It just depends how much like shots they're going to take. Because if Van Dyke is going to turn the ball over for Wisconsin, I think it's going to be a long game for him. You're going on the road to Camp Randall. Jump around's got to get pretty damn rowdy, I think, for something to happen. Because I just don't know if you have the weapons and the offense to do anything to stop the Crimson Tide from coming in there and doing their thing.
I mean, if we're going to talk about out-athleted, a bye week and then USC for Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Alabama's got decent receivers, but USC's are a different level. I mean,
brutal
I think
schedule.
and if USC's more bowed up in the middle, like they showed against LSU, to like stuff the run a little bit, I mean, it really throws you for a loop. And we kind of were talking about Wisconsin before the year even started on what we thought of them and kind of where they were coming into this year. So it's not that big of a difference. It's just now you slow down to start the year and try to ramp that thing back up. Like the place is going to be bumping. It's going to be a hell of an atmosphere. But
maybe.
I mean, at a point there's just too much in the wrong favor. I mean, it's just a really bad matchup in a lot of spots.
It'll be a good, like, you're telling me Wisconsin's not going to sell it out and Camp Randall's going to be going crazy.
I think they will.
You're nuts.
I mean,
Cam said maybe.
Dude, that atmosphere has fallen off very hard. It has.
But how many times is Alabama going to come to town?
Yeah, I don't know if they want to watch that after the last 2 weeks, though. That fan base is on edge out there, man. They are. But that should be a fun one. It's going to be a good game. Let's go roundtable style. Give our score predictions. Jake, who doesn't think it's going to be a good game, what do you think the score is going to be?
Can you hear my mic? Hold on.
Not nothing but the Tide, baby.
Yeah. Shout out Willie.
We don't give a piss about nothing but the Tide. I've got 45-17 here. Like I think I should probably put real money on Bama here for as confident as I sound, huh? Yeah,
I would agree. But the ATS board is hot for you, so don't feel that bad about it.
I do think with Alabama will pull away. I think they'll start off kind of that slow pace. They're out. Wisconsin will be in it the first couple of quarters, but then Alabama will kind of do what they did last week and just out athlete them at the end. Give me Alabama 34-14 in this one, Reese.
Yeah, I'm right around there. I went 31-13 Alabama.
Yep, very close. Good guess. And JP, are you going to round us out and say Bama's
I'm on the same track, but I didn't realize we were all going to be on the number 13, so I don't love that. How about?
I mean, let's not second guess it here. Like we all had Texas last week on Michigan.
Yeah,
I'm not changing it.
You guys thought Texas was going to score that many points in that defense. Come on,
give me 34-17.
Okay,
cover.
But we are in a little bit of a greasy area here as a show. That is a
late touchdown makes it look like it wasn't as bad as it was.
Okay.
That's what good point.
I can see that, but that's good news that we're all on the same page in that one. So we have Alabama winning in Camp Randall. Wisconsin would fall to 2-1. Alabama to 3-0.
Yeah.
Not in the prettiest fashion. So it's a big get right game for Alabama going into SEC play here shortly.